everyone, welcome back to the Girlfriend Experience podcast. I'm your host, Lydia Love. You thought I abandoned you, but I did not. I would never do that. I just needed a couple weeks off. I was going through some personal things, and I just felt like I couldn't put my best self on camera. Luckily today I have a guest that is going to bring the energy, and I am so excited. I'm sure we'll touch on this, but I actually know Bunny from high school, which is kind of crazy. All of my past guests have been sex workers so far, and Bunny is the first one that is not. She has over 1 million followers on one of her TikTok accounts. She's a huge creator in the body positivity movement on TikTok, and I am just so proud of her, and I can't wait to talk to her today. I hope that you guys love it as much as I did, and I just want to say thank you, Bunny, for being on the show, and let's just get into it. Hey Bunny, welcome to the show. I'm so excited that you decided to be a guest because you're my first guest that isn't in the sex industry.
I am so excited. I literally, when I saw that you were doing a podcast, I was like, okay, I have to get on there somehow.
And you were one of my first guests. I made a list of people that I wanted on, and I was like, I need Bunny, because a lot of people that do social media, they're not really down to mix with oh, this girl mainly does OnlyFans related stuff. I don't want that part of my brand, so I really appreciate you.
I feel like body positivity and sex work intertwine in a lot of ways that people don't really realize. So yeah, definitely.
And we're inherently body positive because we're posting ourselves every day. If someone asks what you do online, how would you describe yourself for my viewers that haven't seen your content yet?
So basically, pretty much I started off doing more so body positive videos. So I pretty much went viral on a video that I did kind of showing a posed and unposed version of myself in a bathing suit. And I noticed that, a lot of people don't get to see that side of social media, or don't get to see that side of, creators or influencers in general. And so I kind of realized oh, maybe this could be something that I could start doing. And I definitely did. I think now I've started to branch out a little bit, but my main focus and primary goal is to help other people love themselves, to accept their bodies, and realize that at the end of the day, what we see on social media isn't always what it's made out to be or what it seems like. I try to show, I guess, the unedited and bad days as well.
I love that so much because there's a lot of body positive influencers that they also kind of don't show the bad days, and I feel like that's something that you're good at. They're very they're body positive and they'll show themselves, but it's very curated, and then they're the type that's just love yourself and whatever. But I feel like you're really great at showing your audience these are my highs, these are my lows, and you're completely valid through it all. And I just think that that's really beautiful.
It's kind of funny because I don't think it was the last episode of Euphoria, but it was one of them. Are you currently watching Euphoria right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so one of them, Kat was in her bed, and then it was all of these self-love influencers just love yourself. And I'm oh my God, I really hope that's not how I seem because really, honestly, it isn't that easy. And some people kind of are very tone deaf in a way that they make it seem like it is. And it's taken a long time for me to get here, and it's taken a lot of work for me to get here, and it's not something that can just happen overnight. And of course there's bad days, and so it's important to show that.
I feel like a lot of people on TikTok, I always get it on my For You page for some reason, the it girl content where it's journal and do this and do that, and get up at 6 a.m. for a run, and do all these things and drink green juice. And I'm okay, on days where I wake up and I want to die, I can't do that. I physically cannot go to the store and get a green juice, okay? I can barely drink water.
I created this little morning routine for myself, and I've been really trying hard to get in the habit of it. And it is wake up at 6 a.m. and then, go into the kitchen, eat breakfast, do skincare. And I'm lucky, honestly, if I check off 3 of those things in the morning because I have my alarm set to 6 a.m. but quite honestly I'm probably waking up at 9 a.m. because that's just reality.
The alarm is a suggestion. It's in a perfect day you could wake up at this time. Do you feel being popular online for body positivity has kind of influenced like your own self-love and helped you with that journey? Like, has it motivated you to like become more confident than whenever you first started?
Yeah, 1000%. So I kind of think when I started posting body positive content, or like the content that I got known for,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't 100% believing exactly everything that I was posting. And then throughout, me getting bigger and me, posting body positive specific content, it got me to be a lot more comfortable with my body. And because I'm posting it online so much, it just kind of forced me into it. Not in a bad way, but definitely in a good way. I think I was kind of in the middle of the road there, and that just gave me the extra push that I needed. But you know, I think that it really has helped me, and I think that I've still grown a lot with my own self-love journey since I started my TikTok account. And yeah, I would definitely say that it's helped me for sure.
Oh, that makes me so happy. And I'm sure like seeing that you're helping other people too, kind of motivates you because you're like, well, what I'm putting out there is like inspiring others. And it's almost like kind of manifesting like positivity for yourself. There's days where I'm like, oh, I hate my body in this. But then I'll post it and I'll be like, cute girl, like, oh, I'm looking so good. I'm looking so thick. Like, I love it. But that was like after I spent 30 minutes being like, I should never post this. And then people online see it.
It's so crazy too. Like when I go and look back at photos of myself, even like 3 years ago, where I know that I would like look at those pictures and like, of course, like the outtakes and stuff, and I'd be like, oh my God, I look so ugly. I look so disgusting. Like, I hope no one ever sees these photos. And now I literally will post to my like million followers a picture of me like crying, or a picture of me like with a double chin and my rolls. And it just shows people like the idea of what a bad photo is just so funny, because we present to social media or people online that we look a certain way, when in actuality, we look like everybody else too,
Yeah. The kind of post that you started with where it's like, oh, here's me like posed and unposed, honestly, that helps me a ton because like, obviously I work in the adult industry. I see girls some days that look airbrushed. Like they're just like perfect. And I'm like, do they look like that in real life? Like, not that it would make them less beautiful, but it kind of like messes with my head. So those times where I do see the whole like posed and unposed post, it makes me feel so much better. Or the times where like I see someone in person and I see that they're human too. It's just like, not that I'm specifically seeking out people's flaws, but like, for example, I have some cellulite on my thighs. When I see another girl in the porn industry that has cellulite, which honestly most of them do, I'm like, okay, like this makes me feel better. Or when I plan shoots with girls and I'm like, oh, she's so perfect, I'm gonna look so bad next to her, and then I see, oh, we both have stretch marks, like that's so cool. Like Instagram is not reality.
It's more of like making yourself feel more human, because when we look at people online and they don't post, I guess, quote unquote, the bad versions of themselves, they're only posting the curated version of what they want everybody to see. That's the only version that we know. So if we compare ourselves to them, we have no idea, like, oh, maybe they don't actually look like that online, especially like with Facetune and stuff. And I definitely used Facetune.
It's so crazy.
And I would edit my body, and it's also, that is just like a whole thing in itself, where like you'll edit pictures of yourself and use Facetune and compare yourself to that version of yourself that literally doesn't even exist.
I'll be honest, I use Facetune on my pictures for like my skin, because sometimes I'll look at a picture and I'll be like, my makeup is not blended, like I have a pimple, I hate it, or I'll use like the grain filter. But I've had to like force myself to never edit my body because I don't want to feel bad about myself. I tried it before, like I was messing around with it, I made my waist look smaller, and I was like, oh, my thing just died. My light just died. It's gonna be a little darker, but that's okay. So yeah, like I messed around, I made my waist look more small, I guess, and I was like, this is dangerous, because if I start putting this version of myself out there, when people see me in person, I'm never gonna want to leave my house because no one knows how I actually look. I'm gonna be insecure and I'm gonna think that I need to look like this. I'd rather just pose or something, but not like mess with that. It's like a slippery slope. I live in LA, and not judging them, but like I see influencers in person all the time. And like there's one specific influencer that I've seen out like multiple times, and she facetunes so much, like an insane amount, to where I've seen her in person and I'm like, our body types are like exactly the same. But I'm like looking at her being like, I wish I looked like that.
And I think
it's so wild.
That's primarily one of the main reasons like I really wanted to do this as like my niche, or like how I became a content creator, because growing up I had always wanted to do this, and I have always followed influencers and influencer culture, and I never really saw like a bunch of influencers with even a similar body type to mine, because they really do only put the curated version that they want everybody to see online. And I was like, you know what? I think, you know, even though there's already a ton of great influencers already doing that, I was like, I think that this is what I want to do too. And I'm very thankful that I did. I think it's nice to be able to connect with my followers and my supporters in a way that I can see that I'm helping them and make them realize like everybody, you know, has body image struggles, but it's okay.
I want to keep saying stuff, but I have to address this first. So we went to high school together.
Yeah, we did.
It's like so crazy to think about. But I've been wanting to say, like, you were always that girl that I was like, she is going to be famous or popular or like something one day.
That's how I felt about you too, which is absolutely so funny. Like I was like, oh yeah. She has the it girl, like I know she has it in her. She's fucking hilarious. Like
I feel like I was so like I don't even know how to word it other than like I just felt like such a loser in high school. Like I just like I can't even, it's like I blacked out how I was in high school because I had such a bad time.
Honestly, like I thought of you as more like you were like internet cool. So you know,
okay, yeah, I could see.
You were internet cool, you know, because obviously, like, there were the quote-unquote, like, ASB cool kids, but, like, even I did not associate myself with them, and so I thought, like, the internet cool people were cooler in my book, if that makes sense, you know?
No, I was the same way, yeah. And, like, a lot of the people that I hung out with, like, didn't go to our high school. High school was just weird for me, specifically at the school that we went to together. But I remember, like, I met you freshman year, and you just always had, like, it down. Like, no matter, like, what style you were wearing or, like, whatever. Like, you would dress so cute. You would post the cutest pictures. You would make YouTube videos. And I was just like, okay, like, when is she gonna blow up? Like, when's the time?
Freshman year was definitely, like, I think I was still struggling a lot, like, with myself and who I was as a person. And I want to say, like, sophomore year was probably when that all started, when I was like, you know what? I think I can think for myself now.
Yeah.
Whenever I first saw you posting online and like getting some followers, like 10K, 20K, I was like, this is like a no-brainer to me. Like she was gonna be that girl. And it was just a matter of time. And like I would see your post when you were still working at like, I think it was like a restaurant or something. And I was like, it is only a matter of time before she quits and she's doing social media full time and she's fucking out of there.
Dude, yeah, I worked at a vegan restaurant and like a cafe that was owned like by the same people, and I was literally like so miserable. I think I hadn't really started posting on social media really like frequently until I had actually like left that job. And then from there I was like, okay, like I'm literally living off my unemployment and let's hope that this takes me somewhere. And I was lucky enough to like be consistent with it. And I want to say like in April or March of last year, that's when an agency reached out to me, and I was like, okay, I guess like I'm actually going to be able to do this. And now I'm literally moving in 5 months. So
I don't have a single memory of you being mean. Like there was a point in time in high school where like I had a falling out with my friend group over the dumbest fucking thing. I remember I would like walk down the hallway they would be like yelling at me, calling me a slut, like whatever. You never did that. We didn't talk a ton in high school, but like you would still talk to me, you know, and it meant a lot, especially during that time, because I was like, fuck this school.
Yeah, dude, I think like I definitely involved myself in drama online and probably in school where I like didn't need to like put my nose, but that's what it's like when you're 15, 16 years old, whatever.
Oh, yeah,
but you know,
absolutely.
you were always such a sweet, cool girl. I never understood why, you know, any of that was going on with you and, you know, towards you. But that makes me happy that that's your memory of me, because sometimes I'm like, I swear to God, if I did something that like I don't remember or like hurt somebody's feelings, like I'm gonna feel so bad, because that's not who I am as a person today at all.
No, you were just like funny and like good vibes, and like you were just always super real. So I loved, like, I'm like, ooh, I was a cool kid. I knew her first. Like, I know that she's actually like this.
That's kind of how I feel about you too. And it's so funny that like sometimes people will have like these preconceived ideas of like how they think certain influencers are, or like whatever, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. So it's cool that I know that you're actually a good person and you actually like mean what you're posting online.
It's actually funny that you bring that up, because there's been a few times where there's like TikToks of like, this girl used to bully me in high school and now she's popping off for body positivity.
I've seen that.
And I've gotten tagged in it so many times, and I'm like, y'all, this is not me. And then there's people underneath commenting like, yeah, I could see that being her. And I'm like, what? You guys don't know me like that. Like, I was not like that. And then finally I had a girl that was like, oh yeah, I went to high school with her. She was really, really nice, like whatever. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, like I'll say I went to high school with you and you were nice. Like it's been like 10 years of knowing you.
That's like actually crazy.
I think, wait, because we started high school in 2012. Oh my god, it's 2022. That's terrifying.
Yep.
Do you ever get recognized around town from your TikTok specifically?
I have a few times. I think it's been like maybe once or twice in town. I was actually like buying a Cinnabon, and then one of the workers, she was like, oh, like I follow your TikTok, like I love your TikToks. And like every single time somebody does that to me, I just want to like reach over and like give them a hug. And I don't know, she was just really, really sweet. I don't remember any other time. It was probably like maybe when I was out at the bars or something, but yeah, I've gotten recognized a few times. I think it is definitely like a weird experience, like every single time. Like I just kind of like, okay, do you guys want to be best friends now? Like,
yeah. You know? I have been recognized a couple of times when I still lived in our hometown too, and like it was always by girls, because obviously the guys are like, they're not gonna walk up to me and be like, hey there. But I remember I was at a pizza place and this girl walked up, and I was like, I had taken my younger siblings out, and so I was like I was like supervising them, so I couldn't really talk. But whenever they were like on a ride, the girl walked up to me and was like, oh hey, like I follow you and I just think it's really cool what you're doing, blah blah blah. And she was so sweet. Like she waited for like the kids to go away, and like it made me super happy, because I feel like we grew up in a town that's like super close-minded, and like I would say that even like being a body positivity influencer is a little like out of a lot of people's like realm of understanding, I guess, you know? They're like, oh, girls should be like blonde, white, and skinny only and have no hair, you know? And so I think it's really cool that we're both doing something that's like,
the average person in our hometown,
it's
might not
giving
understand.
like a huge middle finger to like where we've come from, like 1000%, and I'm completely for it.
Absolutely.
I agree. And like in high school, like a lot of guys that I guess were considered like cool or cute, like they didn't look fucking twice at me. Like I smoked weed and I was like out there on the internet. Like they didn't talk to me, but now they're like subscribed to my OnlyFans. And
it's so funny. Like I literally, like I remember guys who would like play me or like would lead me on in high school, or that I had crushes on, and will, you know, hit me up now, or will see me out and be like, oh hey, like blah blah blah. Like no, you don't get to do that now. Like
it expired. My standards are so much more now. Have you received any like hate from people specifically like from our hometown, or is it mainly just like online?
I haven't really gotten, I don't think, any hate from anybody from our hometown. It is kind of a weird experience though, because I want to say like it was the night before Thanksgiving where like they do kind of like a bar crawl, whatever. And I remember going out and I saw a lot of people from our high school, and you know, they give you the shifty eyes, whatever, and the dirty looks, and then like as soon as they've had a couple drinks in them, they go up to you and like, oh, I've always loved you, and like you're just so sweet, and I'm like, okay. All right.
Yeah. I know you talk shit.
Yeah, I know you talk shit. 1000%. But probably like most of the hate that I get is genuinely like just from middle age to like 15-year-old boys on the internet. Like rarely is it ever any other women. Sometimes, but like I said, very rarely. It's kind of just like random dude.
They're being told what a woman should look like, and they don't like whenever a woman doesn't fit into a box that they want them to, and then also loves themselves. That's too much for me. That's where I draw the line, and it's like, what does it have to do with you? Like, also, why is this on your For You page? Obviously, you like it.
No, literally. I had a viral video recently. It was like where like I called my body a work of art, and it got on the wrong side of TikTok. Like, there was just so many men in the comments telling me like, I will say that they do get creative. Like, this is a work of McDonald's. This is a work of KFC. And I'm like, first off, I like literally don't even really go to McDonald's or KFC. So how do you know what my diet consists of? Yeah. But it's just because they're bored, or like if they're young, they don't really, they haven't been taught any better, and they're probably just like usually projecting their insecurities, which is what I chalk it down to.
A lot of the times too, like young guys especially, they see something that they've been told that they shouldn't like, but they actually do. So instead of being like, I think that bigger women are beautiful, they kind of like internalize it, and then they pour hatred into you because they're like, I don't know what to do with these feelings. Like, my dad always talks shit about these women, so like, why do I think that she's pretty? I hate this. Or why do I think that it's cool that she loves herself and I don't love myself? She's not supposed to. It's projection, and like, I used to hate saying that to myself, like, oh, these people are just projecting. But at the end of the day, like, I've never left a hate comment on a random person's video unwarranted, who is just like happy and loving themselves. Like, I've never felt the need, and that's because I don't really have shit to project onto them.
Exactly. And like, if you are going out of your way, spending your time to comment, especially negatively, on somebody's looks and their appearance, like, you have some stuff that you need to hash out in therapy. Like, it's not like it's very obvious. And I wish I kind of knew that when I was younger, because like I definitely would take comments that, you know, even guys would tell me, or hate from other girls, and like really internalize it, and it had nothing to do with me, and it rarely ever does. It just sucks that like a lot of people, it takes a while to realize that. I mean, for myself personally, it did.
No, it's hard because like you're being vulnerable on the internet, and like I get so many hate comments, and like it's very rare that ones will like affect me. Like, it has to be one that's like super specific that I'm upset about that week, I'm feeling bad about myself, and then someone like calls me a whale in my comments or something. I'm like, okay, my feelings are hurt. You hit the button. Good job. Congrats. Most of the time I'm like, okay, you want to say that I don't have a dad a million times? Like, well, then why didn't your mom teach you not to talk to women like that? Do you have mommy issues? I think they're the ones with issues. So yeah, hate can be kind of hard to deal with.
I think sometimes like I'll catch myself scrolling through my comments. It's usually like when I've hit like a pretty viral video, that's when I get on like different sides of TikTok that like my videos don't normally go on. And so like I'll get a lot of hate comments. Rarely is it ever like people will go to my Instagram and DM me as well, because I check those DMs probably more frequently than a TikTok comment.
Yeah.
But there was a certain point where like I had called out like one of like the fitness influencers or like a gym rat. And a lot of his followers were targeting me and sending me DMs telling me to K-word myself. And it's just like, I don't think that people even realize like how that could affect someone. Like if I wasn't in a good mental state that I am now, like how that could potentially affect someone, because they just don't even have the capacity or emotional
empathy. What's that?
Yeah, no, they don't understand.
Whenever I get hate comments on TikTok, I usually just delete them because I'm like, okay, no, now nobody can have fun. Oh, you think you and all your little friends are gonna be liking this and commenting and agreeing? Nope, no one's gonna have fun. And if you disagree with me, you're gonna look at the comments and see that no one agrees with you.
Or like I'll block them. Like I'll see somebody like going back and forth. I'm like, blocked. Like you can't.
The game is over and it's not fun anymore.
I wanted to talk about this TikTok that you posted, I think it was yesterday, about shows like Too Hot to Handle. And I'm going to read, I like took a screenshot, I'm going to read it. You said, watching shows like Too Hot to Handle is all fun and games until you realize you've never seen anyone with your body type represented on any dating show ever, and honestly, I'm not quite sure that I ever will. Okay, I think about this all the fucking time because I am so obsessed with dating shows. Like that's my guilty pleasure. I've been watching them since I was like watching Flavor of Love and Rock of Love when I was way too young. And I have never seen it ever. The closest thing that I have ever seen to even my body type is, I think, Too Hot to Handle season 1. They had a girl, and I don't know if she was on for the whole time, but I noticed that she had like a little bit of cellulite and like her thighs were a little thicker, and I was like, oh, I was shocked that I saw a girl with cellulite on TV. So why can people that aren't a size 2 be on all these shows where they're like funny or like competing for things, but they're not like ever on the love shows? Like why aren't they worthy of love?
It's so, it sucks so bad because as much like I love Love Island, like that show is probably like my kryptonite. And I just finished watching season 3 of Too Hot to Handle. And then also sometimes like I'll watch The Bachelor. I've seen like some other shows. But it was brought to my attention that there has been, you know, some curvier girls on different seasons of like Love Island. I guess there was one in a different country, but she was immediately like pretty closely voted off, or they're either made the joke, or nobody likes them, or they're friend zoned, or people, you know, heckle them and, you know, make a joke out of them online.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think that, you know, if they do start putting more body diversity in these types of shows, that it will suck in a way that, you know, these people will probably get mass hate from so many different individuals online. And that will be their entire personality and their persona on the show, is that they're the curvy one, they're the thicker one, not that they're a person by themselves and their body is just their body, which is so crazy because everybody else, all of the thinner contestants, that won't even be talked about.
I was watching this show on Netflix called like 20 Somethings Austin, and they had a girl on there who I think she was plus size, and she was like talking about her struggles with like feeling like she wasn't as attractive as other girls, whatever. And yeah, that whole thing kind of rubbed me the wrong way because like it was very clear that she wanted love, like she was looking for love, and everyone just kind of friend zoned her and kind of just wrote her off as like, oh, she's cool, like she's the homegirl. And they showed everyone's love life, but they showed her specifically being like super hard, and I'm like, yeah, that is real, it's reality, but also like, like it shouldn't be like a sad story. You know, like the saddest story is like the girl that's not like a size 2.
I think the one thing that has always like really bugged me, and it's especially kind of like with Love Island, is they'll be like, oh, we have the hottest singles, like the sexiest individuals, and they are all the exact same body type. So you're basically putting it out there that this is what's hot, this is what's sexy. not really sure if like anybody else fits the criteria.
Agree. Like
yeah.
not.
I don't either. I don't either. I think that beauty comes in like so many different shapes and sizes, and completely narrowing it down to only size like limits like so many options that you can have.
I unfortunately love watching The Bachelor because it's so fucking cringy, and it's like all of the popular girls that we went to high school with are just like thrown on a show.
Yeah,
like they're just thrown in, and you know,
it's like a lot of people where you're like, oh my god, but she's so like conventionally attractive, like why can't she find love? And then it's just them like fucking going insane. I follow this like tea Instagram page about The Bachelor because I'm fucking bored with my life. I need an escape, okay? And one of them made a post about how like the girls, like some of them are just copy and paste, and I'm not shitting on them specifically, I'm shitting on the people who cast The Bachelor. Like there was a page where it was like 12 girls that looked like they were the same person. Like it was insane, and I was like, the fact that they can do this shows that there's not enough like representation.
Yeah. I think it's like, more so like if they are not told that they need to do these things, or they're not told that they need to change, then they wouldn't. And that's what's problematic about it. I'm not super sure that like I will see body diversity in these types of shows. I think, you know, finding out that there are certain shows that they have casted, you know, people who aren't a size 6. Wow, crazy. That maybe there's a possibility.
In different countries, it's like more accepted to not be like super skinny.
Yeah.
You know.
I did notice, like, I want to say, like, probably, like, 1 or 2 seasons of Love Island, there has been contestants who I'm definitely even bigger than, and they're probably, like, maybe, like, a size 8, and they were interviewed, and I don't remember the exact YouTube video, but they had gotten them all together and kind of asked them, like, how they feel about the experience and, you know, kind of how they dealt with hate, and all of them were basically saying that they were told how fat they were, like from people online, and how, you know, they were the fat person, and they're definitely even smaller than me. So I can't even imagine how people would treat, you know, a plus size person on a dating show, or, you know, even a mid-sized person.
Even for men too on shows, like they're always ripped and like gym bros and stuff, and I'm like, this is not how the average man looks.
That isn't even, like, I think the funny thing is, and I've seen somebody else talk about it before, is that they kind of choose men from a male gaze of what they think women like. And it's not even like I am sitting there, like, drooling over these guys because they have, like, these huge buff arms and abs. Like, no, like, you can see my track record. That clearly isn't something that, like, I'm into.
Like, send a frail man in. Send a man that looks like he's about to pass out and needs water. And these girls will love him so much more than the guy that's, like, working out the whole time.
Or even just, like, huskier guys in general that aren't super buff. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I feel like even actually that would probably be more accepted than a woman who is a little bit more huskier, because
for sure,
at the end of the day, people will praise dad bods, but if you have a mom bod, apparently that's just, like, so disgusting.
I saw that clip of the guy that was on, like, some podcast where he was saying, like, oh, when my wife, like, has a baby, she needs to, like, get back in the gym immediately and, like, start working out. And I'm like,
he does not deserve to reproduce. Like, that's basically no. I genuinely, like, just think that, like, a lot of men need to be put through, like, psych evaluations, like, before they're allowed to become fathers, or, like, literally like take male birth control, and then if you're approved, then you are allowed to reproduce, because some men should not be fathers. Like, imagine you know, him going and having a child, and that child ends up being a girl, and later in her life she looks back and sees that this is how her father speaks about women on the internet.
I would be more embarrassed than if my dad had an OnlyFans. Everyone's like, oh, you shouldn't reproduce, like, blah blah, and it's like, I've seen way worse on the internet. I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of wrap up a little bit, but I wanted to see, is there anything specific that, like, you want to talk about or that you want to say before we go? Like, the floor is yours.
I don't want to talk about or like hear your advice because I'm somebody who's moving to, I not specifically the LA area, but I'm moving to Orange County. And I kind of want to like hear about your, you know, advice or your experience so far as like kind of what I should expect because, you know, you're in a different industry than me, but we're both at the end of the day on social media. And so
my advice for you moving, first of all, I think that the area that you're moving to is like a great idea, because LA specifically, it has just changed so much. And like, if I had a choice and I wasn't like locked in a lease, I would probably move to that area as well, because I mean, it is a very like conservative area because I have friends that live out there, but hey, you've already been through it, you're fine. But I'll say that people out there are so much more real. Like, it's very real. Like, you can find like real friends and a lot of acceptance, and you're close enough to LA to where you can, like, if you have a shoot, if you have an opportunity, if you want to meet someone, like, you can go. So I think that that's good, first of all. I think that moving for your career it's such a good idea. Like, sometimes I look back and I'm like, I work online, like, I don't have to live here. But I will say, like, the environment just, like, does so much. Like, there's so much more content that you can make. You can, like, go out and eat cute meals when you need a break from being trapped inside. Like, and the freedom that you feel not being surrounded by people that, like, you grew up with, or, like, people that you don't like, or ex-boyfriends. It's just, like, it's insanely freeing. And so I will say, like, you're going to notice, I bet your career is going to take, like, you're going to have 2 million followers soon. Like, it's going to take off so much because you're going to have that, like, motivation.
I think, like, it is, like, really cool that, like, you know, I was able to, like, see you move out of our hometown, and, like, I always thought, like, that was a really big inspiration, and, like, I genuinely, like, wasn't sure if I would be able to get to the point, like, where I could, like, honestly, like, even last year, like, I hadn't completely planned on moving out of our hometown for at least another few years, but, like, I was able to have the opportunity to, and now I'm just super excited because I know that once you're able to leave, you can grow in so many other ways.
So many ways. Like, and you'll just, like, become even more of your own person, you know? Because then it's like, well, all of a sudden, like, you have all these, like, responsibilities, and, like, I don't know if you're gonna be living with people, but if you are, like, yeah, you have them, but you're kind of, like, doing your own thing and just figuring out life. And so I feel like it's going to help your career, and it's almost like an investment in your career, if that makes sense. I think that's a good move, and we have to hang out.
And I feel like we'll definitely be able to hang out a lot more, which is nice.
Hey, well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Like, this was such a good talk, and I feel like it's just gonna give good vibes to everyone that listens. Where can people find you online?
So on Instagram, I'm bunny.bispo, Bispo. That's how you spell my last name. And then on TikTok, I'm not bunny. And on YouTube, it's Bunny Bispo.
Have you started posting YouTube videos?
I have a few up there. I'm finishing editing one right now, so it should be up hopefully by tomorrow. But I just got my first vlogging camera.
Yay! Which one did you get?
I got this Sony. I have it right here. It's like this Sony something, I don't know.
I'm obsessed with my Canon G7X, but I've broken like 4 of them at least in the last 3 years, and so I'm like, maybe it's time to find a new model that doesn't break every year.
That one had really good reviews, so hopefully it'll last me a while. But I'm very excited to get into more YouTube content because YouTube's interesting.
Oh yeah,
it's fun. But yeah.
Thank you for coming on, and we need to do like a part 2 sometime also.
Yes, I would love that so much. It's been wonderful talking with you, and I love you. I feel like we get along so well, so it's nice.